Now, I really want to spend the majority of this presentation discussing his ministry later in life. I feel like that pertains more to what we're learning about, but it would be incomplete for me to neglect talking about the beginning of his ministry. Now, all of this information I've gotten from the William Moody's biography on his father that was published after Dwight died. And a lot of these stories came from Moody himself to his son, because his son interviewed with the express notion of writing a biography after his father had gone. So in the early days of his ministry, I say ministry, when he was out to seek his fortune, he left home with the goal of making a whole lot of money. He wanted to make $100,000. He was just a country boy with big aspirations. He didn't have a whole lot of schooling, but he had enough, and he was bright, and he was charismatic, and he became a shoe salesman. And he was very good at it. He worked very hard. He made a lot more money than most young shoe salesmen would have at the time, when he left for Chicago. But he started in his early to mid-20s. He started doing a Sunday school for the children because he did want to serve God. So Sunday school, I had to change what Sunday school was. It was not 45 minutes before service talking about a Bible story so much as it was a day that that children who worked in the factories and on the streets could go to a Sunday school where they would learn to read and write. Now, there was a great deal of religious influence, and they learned from the Bible, and they preached to them, sort of. But there's so many stories, I can't tell you all of them. But the one that I have to tell you is one that Moody explains, and that his son copied down verbatim in the biography, that the day that he knew that he needed to forsake his shoe selling business and expressly focus on ministering to people, to the gospel, especially children. He was working with one of his teachers, and the teacher came to him and said, "I am very sick." One of his Sunday school teachers, "I'm very sick, and I am not going to be able to work with the Sunday school anymore. As a matter of fact, I think I'm dying." Which was heartbreaking. And Moody was sorry for him, but the man was more upset less that he was dying, and more that none of his students that he had in Moody's Sunday school he had ever led to Christ. He told them about the Bible, but he wasn't urgent. He didn't expressly tell them that they needed to be saved. He taught an all-girls class, and they were giggly and young and frivolous, and the teacher didn't take it seriously, and suddenly now he's facing death, and he's regretting it deeply. Moody saw this and was completely moved. That this man is dying, and what he's thinking about is what he didn't do. So Moody said, "Well, I know that you're leaving soon." The man was going to leave for a better climate to try to extend his life a bit. "I know that you are leaving, but we can go to these girls' houses and you can tell them." And so they did. And Dwight went with this Sunday school teacher to every house. And it was over a period of 10 days before he finally got to every one of his students' house. And every one of those girls, with tears in their eyes, accepted Christ because of that man's dying testimony. And Moody, seeing that, knew that shoes weren't important, and neither was money. They truly weren't. And he went with the teacher when they were seeing him off on the train. It was the last time that he saw that teacher, and all of his students showed up at the train station, and they sang hymns as he rode away on the train to what he knew was his death, but he was completely at peace because he had made a difference in those girls' lives. And it was that moment, that time, and that dying man's actions that spurred Moody on to become the preacher that we know him to be later in life, and what we're going to look at on just the next slide.